Expect fair skies Saturday through Monday with temperatures in the 70s on Saturday.
Welcome back. It's time to take a look at your tropical update. Just in 24 hours from monitoring 3 storms, we've already seen 2 develop into a tropical system that has information. It has designations, or they have designations. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about here in the Atlantic Basin. Now, we've been talking about 3 storms, or 3 areas. One was right here off near the Cape Verde Islands, the other near Bermuda, and the other right around the Caribbean. And this afternoon, we finally got one that became a tropical storm. It's Tropical Storm Juan, with winds up to 60 miles per hour. It's moving north-northwest. You put a picture on this here, moving north-northwest, right around this angle. This is Bermuda where the cross is, so it looks like they may be on the lucky side this time. You remember not too long ago they had, I believe it was, I can't remember the hurricane, but it made its way right over land. Now it's moving north-northwest. We're going to get the western side. It was Fabian. That's who it was. But Fabian, man, what a destruction it was here in Bermuda. This time it doesn't look like we're going to be dealing with such a storm. But it's still going to bring in some waves and maybe some showers and thunderstorms into the area. It's about 185 miles east-southeast of Bermuda for right now. And if you're keeping track at home, it's 31.1 north, 61.9 west. If you're not keeping track and you want to just put a area to this, if you follow this, it's right around the same latitude as Brunswick, Georgia. So you follow that straight out, and that's where the center of this storm is right now. We'll continue to see what it does as it continues to move into some cooler waters. It's expected to slowly strengthen and then begin to weaken as it does move into that much colder air mass. It's not really well defined here. You're probably thinking that's a tropical storm, but yes, winds have been found within the storm to be up to 60 miles per hour, and as a result, tropical storm warnings are in effect for the island of Bermuda. All right, that takes care of storm number 1. Let's go to number 2, right here near the Cape Verde Islands. This is Tropical Depression 16, well a ways from any land. Here are the Lesser Antilles, these little dots here on the left-hand side of your screen. This is Africa, so it's right in the center, still far away from any land. Winds are only up to 35 miles per hour, and it's moving northwest at 15 miles per hour. If it were to strengthen, we definitely have enough time to keep an eye on this storm. So we'll keep an eye on the storm meanwhile and see what happens. Here it is. There's a lot of convection going on with it and even some outflow. So there is a chance that it could strengthen here. As we take a look at the Caribbean now, you'll find we do have one disturbance here, wave with a lot of convection to it, and it's expected to continue to drift towards the Yucatan eventually over the next couple of days or so. But you find that with the convection, it's not very organized. So whether this becomes our next tropical depression or not, we'll just have to wait and see. The Gulf of Mexico otherwise is very quiet. We do have strong jet stream flow, and we have an onshore flow here around Florida, so things will continue to remain very soggy here, but this is not of a tropical storm or tropical system. Stay with us. Dave and I will be right back.
Evening Edition is sponsored by AARP, the power to make it better.
Here, Senator Jordan. Here, salad on the outside, honey.
Okay.
They're here. Hi, come on in. Have a seat. How are you? Thanks for coming to my prescription drug summit. Before we leave today, I want us to get an affordable drug benefit in Medicare. Everybody on board? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
Let's eat.
If one person could do it alone, the world wouldn't need AARP.
The new 2004 Subaru Legacy 35th Anniversary Edition. Driven by custom alloy wheels, standard. Driven by a power moonroof and leather accents, standard. Driven by more standard power than Accord and Camry, and by all-wheel drive, which they don't even offer. And now driven by low 2.9% APR financing and $2,100 in package discounts and customer cash rebates. The 2004 Subaru Legacy 35th Anniversary Edition.
Subaru, driven by what's inside.
Subaru, driven by what's inside.
10 minutes to the hour here on First Outlook. Time for the Tropical Update. I'm Nick Walker. We talk about how September is such an active month here in the tropics, and it has suddenly become more active with Tropical Storm Juan now near Bermuda, and the 16th tropical depression in the Atlantic this year could become the 11th named storm, perhaps as soon as later on today or tomorrow. Two things we're watching. And the first one here with Tropical Storm Juan moving toward the north slowly at 9 miles an hour. It's 175 miles southeast of Bermuda. The winds in the center 65 miles an hour, and it could strengthen into a hurricane by tomorrow. It looks like it's going to take this northerly track and miss Bermuda, but in the meantime, Bermuda's winds could come up, and we have tropical storm warnings in effect for the island. The winds right now are anywhere between the 20 to 25 mile an hour range. We'll continue to see it move toward the north here over the next few days, and again, some strengthening here into possibly Hurricane Juan. Tropical Depression 16 could actually strengthen to Tropical Storm Kate over the next 24 to 48 hours, moving toward the west-northwest at about 12 miles an hour with 35 mile an hour winds in the center. It looks a little bit more organized here in the last few frames, so it does bear watching as it is expected to strengthen. Still a long, long way, though, over 1,300 miles from the Leeward Islands. No land in its path right now. We're continuing to see disturbed area of weather here in the Caribbean and a lot of tropical moisture coming into Florida this morning. The Pacific, fairly quiet, but we do have a typhoon in the western Pacific that could become, or at least a tropical depression that could become a typhoon over the next few days. Kim?
Well, if you're headed out of town this weekend, you'll want to miss your weather today. Joining us now is meteorologist Marshall Cease. Good morning, Marshall.
Good morning, Kim.
Tell us what's coming up.
Well, Friday and the weekend, and that sounds good to all of us, but travel analyst Dennis Smith has some weekend getaway ideas for you. Plus, in some places, it doesn't just feel like fall, it looks like it. Your fall foliage report is ahead, and Dr. John Neese takes a closer look at the cooling trend headed your way. Kim?
Well, Hurricane Isabel could be a reason for an improvement in the nation's unemployment figures. The Bloomberg Money Barometer warns this positive spin could be misleading.
Good morning. The number of Americans filing for unemployment benefits fell for a second straight week. That's a sign employers may be slowing the pace of firings as the economy gains momentum. First-time jobless claims fell to 381,000 in the week that ended Saturday, compared to economists' estimates of 400,000. Some economists consider 400,000 the divide between job market expansion and deterioration. But it's worth noting the better-than-expected jobless report may have been skewed by the weather. A Labor Department spokesperson said about half the decline in new claims may have been because of Hurricane Isabel. The hurricane kept as many as 9,000 people from filing last week. The economy is expected to grow this quarter at the fastest rate since the first 3 months of 2002, and companies may be holding on to workers as demand improves. Some economists say consumer and corporate spending still must accelerate and earnings growth pick up before hiring increases. For the Weather Channel, I'm Linda Bell with the Bloomberg Money Barometer.
If your job is selling umbrellas this weekend, boy, you're going to do some booming business, particularly in the Midwest and in the East. And a lot of college football games affected by this weather, too, including the Penn State game, the South Carolina-Tennessee game there in Knoxville could be affected by showers and thunderstorms. And we'll see rain continue into New England on into your Sunday. Dry in the west, but cooler weather settling into the north.
And a lot of folks traveling to get to those games, maybe today. What can they expect, Mark?
They may be traveling to the games. They may be traveling to see fall foliage.
Oh, yeah.
One of the big stops, Portland, Maine. And that's jet for today. There's some showers around. D.C. looking good. Buffalo, clouds increase. So changes coming.
All right, that wraps up First Outlook. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Stay tuned. Your weather today just ahead.
First Outlook is sponsored by Smith Barney. This is who we are. This is how we earn it.
Did you catch the game last night? Great game. Yeah. Hey, what'd you have to eat? Pound of beer-battered chicken strips and cheese fries. You? Oh, watercress tea sandwich with just a sprig of parsley.
Should have had a new Hungry Man Sports Grill. A whole pound of the Sports Grill grub men love. Hungry Man.
Turned to normal patterns, actually, after the storm. Kids went back to school in Gloucester County, Virginia, Tuesday for the first time since Isabel struck a week ago yesterday. Wow, still looking at a lot of problems there. And now we've got another hurricane, Hurricane Juan. Now, let me be specific right off the bat. We do not think that this is going to impact the lower 48 at all. So there's the good news right off the bat. The bad news is we do have a hurricane in the Atlantic, and it may affect Bermuda. So let me show you the latest information as of 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. If you're plodding along with us, the coordinates are as follows: 32.2 north, 62.0 west. So that's what you need to know, latitude and longitude. 160 miles east of Bermuda. Winds are at 75 miles per hour. So it's a minimal hurricane. Its movement is north at about 8 miles per hour, and the estimated pressure is 987 millibars. Now, the good news is that it is going to be passing well to the east of Bermuda. So the strongest hurricane force winds will be right around that center, right around an eye wall that appears to be forming right now as we look at the satellite vantage point. But we do still have tropical storm warnings in effect for Bermuda. So in other words, you're going to be experiencing some tropical storm force winds perhaps. We've already had reports of winds up to 40, 45 miles per hour in Bermuda. So just a heads up there. Not going to be anything like the hurricane you saw earlier this season, but certainly with this hurricane, you need to bear in mind it's going to be well to the east of Bermuda, but we still may experience some tropical storm force winds in Bermuda itself. And as you can see on this satellite vantage point, well, actually I'll show you on this one, an eye wall appears to be forming. We'll keep an eye on that for you, but a minimal hurricane right now. Now the track is expected to take it east of Bermuda and on north into Nova Scotia sometime late in the weekend. So not going to be affecting the eastern seaboard at all until it gets to Nova Scotia. So that is what we were talking about with our Hurricane Juan. We also have a tropical depression that we're going to tell you about in the central Atlantic. And another area of interest, just want to show you where it is, right in here, some convection, cloud cover, showers and thunder showers that bears watching near Nicaragua and Honduras. Gulf of Mexico, looking pretty good. We've seen some showers and thunder showers that we've been watching very closely affecting you in Florida. You're certainly going to see more rainfall in Florida, but we don't think we're going to see anything developing tropically speaking across that area. So that's some good news. But this certainly is going to be something we'll keep an eye on. Just north of Honduras, flare-up of convection. Things are favorable for development this time of year. We're still in the heart of the hurricane season. And now we take you to the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. Just some cloud cover, nothing too specific here that we think is going to develop into anything. We are going to see some scattered showers and thunder showers across parts of Puerto Rico, but St. Thomas looking pretty good. Now, as we head out into the Atlantic, we can tell you about a tropical depression, number 16, which is actually very, very close to becoming a tropical storm. If you're plodding along with us, it's 15.9 north, 40.7 west, and that centers it about 1,300 miles east of the Lesser Antilles. Winds are at 35 miles per hour. Movement northwest at 15 miles per hour. And this particular tropical depression showing signs of further development, very, very close to tropical storm status, so we're going to keep a close watch on that one for you. This vantage point shows you even more so how we're trying to get some organization there right around the center of circulation with some convection. Elsewhere in the Pacific, things are fairly quiet, especially around Cabo San Lucas, which is good news. All right, into the lower 48, chance for strong to intense thunderstorms. You've got it with this secondary front that's moving on through. The first one has moved on out of the northeast and brought in some cooler temperatures. The second one going to bring in even
Sunday, we'll have temperatures in the high 60s with rainy conditions. Expect fair skies on Monday and Tuesday.
Thanks for joining us for the Tropical Update. I'm Christina Abernathy. We will take a look at some stormy weather across the U.S. in a moment, including a tornado warning in Missouri for parts of Lincoln, Montgomery, and Warren counties. We'll have more on that coming up. Now let's take a look at what's going on in the tropics, and there are a couple of areas that we're watching. We have a tropical, actually a hurricane, and we also have a tropical depression.
First of all, we'll start out with our hurricane. Hurricane Juan, which is centered right now about 155 miles east-northeast of Bermuda, and it is moving to the north at 9 miles per hour, so not expected to have much of an impact on Bermuda. There's some good news. The pressure, about 967, actually 987 millibars. That's the estimated pressure. And as far as the track and projected path of this system, generally expected to head off in a northerly direction and eventually make landfall in Nova Scotia. But one impact that it will have on the U.S., sort of an indirect impact, is that it's going to kick up the surf. So heavy surf and dangerous rip currents along parts of the northeast coast is one of our big concerns with this system. So watch out for that to be on the increase, and probably not a good time to head out to the water over the next few days. Well, we'll look at what else we have. A tropical depression, 16, out here in the Atlantic. It's about 1,300 miles east of the Lesser Antilles with winds of 35 miles per hour. It's moving to the northwest at 14 miles per hour, and there is the possibility that we could see further strengthening with this system. So we'll watch it too, but again, it's well out in the Atlantic right now, so just bears watching. And next we head into the eastern Pacific, watching a few areas of disturbed weather, and we're also watching some interesting weather in the Caribbean, some showers and thunderstorms that we'll continue to monitor there too. So if anything gets developed, we'll let you know. So keep checking back in on our tropical update at 50 past each hour. Now here's the big picture around the country, and as I mentioned, we do have some pretty nasty thunderstorms. As a matter of fact, we have severe thunderstorm watches from Kansas and Missouri into Illinois, and a tornado watch from Illinois into Indiana, and we have had some pretty rough weather indeed. A line of thunderstorms. We can see that to the south of Kansas City. Many severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect here, but we're also watching some storms. Again, it's these storms here off to the north and west of St. Louis where we have tornado warnings in effect. And watch out, St. Louis. This is headed in your direction, so you want to be alert and get ready to take the necessary precautions to keep yourself safe. If your county is under a tornado warning, you need to get to the lowest floor of your home. If you have a basement, get into your basement. If not, just go to the lowest floor of your home, into a small interior room, a room that doesn't have windows, and you need to act quickly if your county is under a warning. But again, tornado warnings in effect here, and we expect these storms to head right into the St. Louis metro area. We've also been watching storms in Illinois, including in Logan County, where earlier we had a tornado warning in effect. That's no longer in effect, but that storm did down some trees in Logan County. So packing a punch there, and also watching farther northward, Chicago in for some very soggy weather this evening, and keeping an eye on Indiana and Indianapolis as well. You can see lots of stormy weather here in Illinois that is headed off generally to the east. So these are some of the areas that we're keeping an eye on, the Midwest certainly, but also watching some scattered showers here to the south across Florida and into Texas, while most of the west is dealing with really some pretty quiet weather. But we are, again, keeping an eye on these areas that we have highlighted in red. That's where the severe weather threat is the greatest, and this does include the St. Louis area. Very nasty storms headed your way, and we'll watch those moving through Illinois and Indiana as well.
And we'll have much more on severe weather coming up in the second hour of Weather Center.
But first, your local on the 8s.
2 more steps, guys. Come on, Mom. We've been to the video store and the dry cleaners. I think we've been in the car all day.
Hardworking engine temperatures in the low 70s with rainy conditions.